Hello, everybody. I am going to show you how to do a global renewal. There is a global renewal right now for textbooks only, but now it's a little bit of an involved process, but it will do it much quicker than going through individual students and updating all of their information. So to start off, we're going to make sure that we're in library view. The one other thing that you might want to do too is to go into your back office and to your calendar and hours and turn off the dates that we probably won't be at school. So I'm just going to close these days because possibly we may be back on the 8th. But if you're already further than that and you know it, I would just go ahead and close off everything, because what we're going to do, we'll renew them, we'll recheck them out to the students and give them their extended time for however long your library policy is for after the close, after you open. Does that make sense? I think it does. Okay, so I'm just going to go back now to reports, and this is the beginning, to go to report builder. And we're going to create a new report. And in that report builder, the first way we're going to define it is by patron and current checkouts. Okay, and we're going to use the arrow over. And in this section, we're going to just choose from patron information. Step 1 is patron barcode of patron, barcode copy, and title. And then scroll back up and click over and go to next. Okay, we're going to skip step 2. And then in step 3, you're going to click on title, because we're going to move that to the top. And arrow over. And then we wanted to sort it by title, and then by patron, and then by copy. And next. And we're also skipping step 5. And then 6, this helps us set some limits. So the first limiter is going to be collection type. So patron information, you've scrolled down a little bit, you will see collection type. And our type is going to equal library, not textbooks, obviously. And the second limit is going to be of the patron type. So we only want to renew the items that are for students. So we want student. So looking at Vicky's design here, it looks like perhaps she's got 2 separate ones for intermediate student, primary student, and student. If that's the case, and that you don't have one patron type that gets all of your students, you might have to run it for each type of student. Okay, but we can do that separately and add it to another file. So I'll show you that in a little bit. So I'm just going to choose student, and I'm going to move forward. Going to name it. And save it and run it. All right, it's probably going to run relatively quickly, but you can just click on refresh your list to see, and ta-da, hers is done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to download it as an Excel document. It opens Excel for you. And there's all the information. And notice the P is just for your students and not for any of your teachers or your classrooms or any other way you have it designated. So this is just renewing it for students only. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to remove line 1, because we don't want the title or the headings to be in it. So just click on the number, right click, and delete. And then we're going to clear this column. We don't really need to know the book titles. That's not that important, but I needed that title, that space there for you to hold it to add something. Okay, so we're just going to right click and we're going to clear contents. There's a offline code that has to go in here, and that code is percent capital C 123 H. That needs to be in each one of these spaces. So I just entered it, click back to on it, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to click on number 2, and I'm going to drag my, I call this the elevator, all the way down. And then I'm going to hold down the Shift key and click on the last line of entry, and then Control V to paste it in. Or you could just right click and paste the value. Okay, so that's what you need for each item there. Now we're ready to save this file. We're going to go to File, Save As, okay, because we have to save it as a different type. And I'm just going to go to my Browse and notice that it's in my Downloads. And so I'm going to give it the name again, just going to call it GT Renewals. But the type has to change. It needs to be saved as a CSV, comma, delimited document. Okay, and you'll see it looks different than a regular Excel file. All right, so save it. All done. Now, like I said, it's a little involved, but it's not complicated. All right, so we're going to go to Microsoft Word. And I want to open a file. And the file that I want to open is, make sure this is set to all files, because usually it's just on all Word docs and I can't see that file that I just did. So it has to be all files because it is a CSV file. If I click on, notice I'm in Documents, so I want to make sure that I'm in my Downloads, and I can see the file that I just did, GT Renewals, Renwalls. Fun. I've been up too long, right? All right, anyway, here, I'm going to open that file. Okay. It did say that I had a file called this already, so I'm just going to save as. It may happen to you, it may not. And notice it is called plain text. How about if I fix that? Renewals to plain text, save. And we want to take away any possibility of there being any additional kinds of formatting that Windows is putting in, or Microsoft anyway, and I'm just going to say OK. Now it's nice and clean. Now, it's all on one line. That's not how Destiny will read it. So we're going to change the way it looks. Okay, so we're going to choose Replace. And what we're going to replace is the comma. So I'm typing a comma in there. And what am I going to replace it with? I'm going to replace it with a line. So that is the caret, which is a capital 6, and an L. Okay, I know, weird. So when I say replace all, you'll see now they're on all separate lines, because this is the way Destiny will read it. Okay, now you'll see this P, or it looks like a backwards P, that's a paragraph marker. We're also going to change that to make it just a line, because that is part of the formatting from Word. So we're going to go again with, I'm going to replace a caret with a lowercase p, and replacing that with that L, which just stands for line. This is a paragraph, and this is just a line. Replace all, and you can see now all of those are represented by that. Looks like a return carriage, right? So the way that we can make sure that you can see that is to make sure that this paragraph marker is on. See, without it, I can't tell what's there. But with it, I can see that they're all now lines. Okay, so we're going to go to File and Save. it has some features that are not compatible with with plain text. I want to save it in this format. Yes. Okay. So now we have the document GT Renewals 2. And I'm going to go back over to Destiny, and I'm going to go into circulation and choose offline circulation. Now, don't click the box that you want to deselect here is record in library, and also tell it do not create temporary records, just in case something comes up funny with one of your patrons' barcodes. It will create a temporary record, and you don't want any of that. The other thing that you can change is the date of transaction. So this is for today, but that means that if I didn't close my library for those additional dates, then it's going to give me the 2 weeks from this date forward for my loan period. So I can just go ahead and change that automatically to the date that I want to say. So I'm just going to do it from the 10th and then forward 2 weeks. It will allow the kids to have that checked out. Choosing the file that we want, it is in my downloads. And you can tell that it's a text document that we want, GT Renewals 2. And I'm just going to open that up, and I'm going to upload the scans. Give it a moment. It is going through every single one of those books and rechecking them out to the student that had it checked out already. Okay, it is complete. And now if I go through and I can view what has been done. So it attempted 519 transactions and copies renewed 519. And there were also warnings of 519 because some of them may say, if you look, it says he reached his over his limit, but it still would have renewed those items for that student, right? And on and on. It looks like it's all successfully done. So now if I go back to my offline circulation, or even just to my circulation or reports, excuse me. So if you go to patron reports and you check out overdue materials, gives that list. Now there's one student here that for some reason it didn't get captured. But maybe that's because he's an upper grade and she had it separated by intermediate and primary. But if you look at all the other ones, these are all teachers or programs that things are checked out. So for all the students that had late books, they've all now been updated. So in about 5-6 minutes this took us to do that, it was done. Think of how long it would be if you had to go through every single student and renew their information. So I hope that helps, and I hope that you can then update all your information. If not, just give me a call.